Today I'm going to show you how to go from this dirty looking laptop to a laptop that looks this clean. Hello guys, Romano IT here. Today I would like to show you how to properly clean your laptop. I tried to do this tutorial for all kinds of laptops, so not specifically for the Alienware X17i2. So let's start. First of all, you need a microfiber cloth. Second thing you need is a screwdriver set, a toothbrush, and a couple of brushes. Also, you can use some WD-40 if needed. It's actually very good to lubricate the hinges of your laptop. Then you need to steal some Q-tips from your girlfriend and also some acetone. I like to use acetone instead of alcohol. After you have prepared all your equipment, we can start. We start by disassembling the machine. Turn over your laptop and you will find some kind of screws. So in this case we need to unscrew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. All screws are Phillips size head 1. So, and it doesn't matter what kind of laptop you have, you will have to unscrew your bottom case in order to get to your motherboard. You want to pay attention to the screw size because there are two different type of screws. If the screws don't want to come out, you can take a pair of tweezers, go underneath the screws, hold it, and pull up the screw from underneath with your tweezer. Then you got it out. The next one. Perfect. I'm recording this video with a Huawei P30 Pro. This is a new setup I am trying out. I hope that the quality will be satisfying for you. And I try to go as in-depth as possible with this tutorial. Now, once we have unscrewed all the screws, you can either take a plastic prying tool to release the bottom cover, or what I prefer, taking your bare hands with your fingers and feel with your fingernails where the bottom case meets with the chassis. Once you have opened a corner, go around with your hand around the perimeter. And don't open it from here and then from the other side, because you can bend your cover. So always go around the perimeter, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So once you loosen up your bottom cover, you can pull it up and pull it towards you. So I have to be honest with you guys, I already did this job, but since my camera broke down, I had to do this video once again for you. So the laptop will be clean for this video, but I will show you the steps nonetheless. Once you have removed your bottom cover, you want to remove your battery. Doesn't matter what kind of laptop you have. So before you do anything else, locate where your battery connector is. In this case it's here, and pull it out. So now your laptop is discharged. If you want to go all crazy, open your laptop and hold the power button for 30 seconds. The reason why you want to do this is by pressing the power button, you will discharge all of the main board, because now the main board tries to power on, but since it doesn't have any external source, the electricity will be discharged. So this should be enough. So that's enough. So now most likely your battery will be screwed down. In this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. let's unscrew them. Keep track of your screws. So since I know where all the screws are going in, I don't really need to sort them. But if you don't have experience doing this, or you just want to be 100% sure, you can either stack them separately or you can label them. So I just do it like this. Almost missed one. So pull the battery out, and now we want to unscrew this back cover. Sorry for this, guys, but I don't have pro cameras yet because I'm a small YouTuber, and that's how it is. So pay attention, once you have unscrewed your Tron light, you don't want to yank it out yet because it is still connected by this ribbon cable and this long ribbon cable. These cables are for the backlight. So you want to take a pair of tweezers, release both latches, this one and this one. Do it carefully. So, and after you have opened the latches, pull out the ribbon cable. Pull it away from you. So once you've done that, take both thumbs and press against the Tron light and release that. That's it. For this particular model, you don't need to disassemble your SSDs. If your laptop requires to have the SSD disassembled, do this now. I know for this laptop we have to remove this S-shaped ribbon cable. How do I know that this should be disassembled? Well, because this end is connected to the chassis and this end is connected to the main board. So in order to unscrew your main board, you have to remove it. So open up the latches, 1 and 2, and release it. Now pay attention to this ribbon cable because it has one end which is called MB. This goes to the main board side and the other side goes to the MCL. It's this part. We want to disconnect our cables. We can start with this one. Well, it doesn't really matter where you start, but I like to work systematically. So, and how do I know that we have to do this? Well, because they are just in the way of removing the main board. Now, in this particular model, you have like a pulling tab. Just take your fingers and pull it up. Now you have to pay attention here because this cable is actually glued on the heatsink. You don't want to yank it out because most likely you will damage the fins of the heatsink. And if you do this, you will have a bad day, trust me. So the next one, off. So this is a little bit tricky. I hope the quality is satisfying. Pull up this plastic tab and you will see this hinge. So take one end of your tweezers, push it up, then take your thumb and your finger and pull it away from you. Let's continue with this cable. Away. That's the power cable, which connects the power port to your main board. This cable has the same principle. Pull out the plastic tab, push up the hinge. Now I suggest to do this on the side and not between your soldered connectors. Pull it up and push out with your fingers. Now we can go here. And I believe this is the most delicate part of this main board, and I will show you why. This is actually your Wi-Fi antenna, and this Wi-Fi antenna is soldered on your main board. Why is this the problem, you might think? I will show you. So let me remove this one. And this is just a metal bracket. This lower part is actually pressing on top of both Wi-Fi antennas. I carefully go in between with my tweezers. I grab the cable and pull it up very carefully. The other one too. I've seen it happen many times. If you accidentally break one of those round shaped connectors, you have to replace your whole main board. That's the thing. If this is not 100% round, like your connector on the main board, and let's say you want to force it in, you will actually break or bend the connector which is soldered on the main board. And then you will have a bad day. Well, how do I know? Well, just skip this question, please. So once we have done that, we can unplug our speakers. Both speakers have only this connector. Good. Now let's unplug the fan. I like to use my finger here and take it out with your tweezer. Same principle here. Take your tweezers, pull up and take out the ribbon cable. Once we have unplugged all the connectors, we can actually start to disassemble the fans. So this fan has one screw here, here and here, so 3 screws in total. On this fan there is actually the Wi-Fi antenna cable, which you have to remove too. So take this fan out, place it here so you don't lose it. Now we can take out the big fan. This has only one screw, but you can't take it out because it's connected to the whole main board. But you have to unscrew this screw to actually get out the main board. Let's go to the other side. Let's take out the other small fan. This one has only 1 and 2 screws. Same thing as on the other side. Down here is a cable. You want to release that. And the cable is actually trapped inside here. Okay. No, so same story as the other side. Take out the screw. So now the only thing we have to do before taking out the main board is to actually unscrew the main board from the chassis. We start with this heatsink. Now, as you can see, the heatsink is pressed down on this side more than on this side, which means we have to alleviate the pressure first on this side. So take out this screw, and then you want to alleviate the pressure evenly so you don't bend the heatsink, even if it's just 1/10 of a millimeter. If the heatsink doesn't sit flat, it can't properly cool the components. So now you can take it out with your hands or just with a pair of tweezers. Good. Now on the main board are 1, 2 and 3 screws. Now, as I stated before, this laptop is already clean. I did a video yesterday, but I realized that the quality was very bad, so I just had to shoot it again. So we can take out the main board, and as you can see, it's spotless. Now we are assuming now that this is full of dust. We take this brush just to have an idea how stiff it is. Now we want to work from the inside to the outside. What we can actually do also is to take out the speakers. And as you can see, these speakers are held by plastic grommets. This one here and here. I believe if we can thicken these grommets, there will be less vibration, and thus I believe we can improve the sound quality. This is something for another video. So we clean up here too. There is nothing underneath which can create vibrations. No dust or particles. Great. You see, it's somehow a little bit wiggly. Now we take the cables and put them inside, because we want to actually turn over this chassis so we can clean our keyboard. Turn it around very gently. And now the WD-40 comes into play. We want to actually lubricate the display hinges. Just a very small amount. That's enough. That's enough. What I actually like to do, you know, sometimes when you flip open your screen and it doesn't feel right, this actually happens when the pressure is uneven between the right side and the left side. So how do we adjust that? I will tell you. I will loosen all 4 screws. So now the pressure is alleviated. Flip the chassis around. I will loosen up these screws too. This one. This one. These are from the display. Now all screws are loosened up, which connects the screen to the chassis. Which means now we can press the display to the chassis. Good. Press it down. So I take my left hand, just a very little amount of pressure. Hold it down. Screw in 1 screw here. Go to the other side. Press the other side. And tighten up the other screw. Now just 1 screw at a time. Now we started here. We started here. Then we went to this one. Now we want to go back. Screw in the 3rd one, go back again. So, and by doing this trick, you will ensure that the pressure is distributed evenly. So your screen now will open up like a dream. Turn it upside down again. Same story here. Start here, screw in, go to the other side. Press with the other hand very lightly. Screw in this one. Go back here again. feels always good when you know you did something right. So once we have adjusted the display, we want to open it up. Pay attention to the cables. Take the cables, let them hang on the side of the table, so the cables don't touch the table at all. So now we take the same brush. We want to go really in between the keys. Now, as I said, I cleaned this laptop yesterday and today it looks again like a mess. So, and this brush is safe to use on your screen. It won't do any harm, it won't scratch it. So you will be safe. So happy laptop is happy me. Take a microfiber cloth. It has to be a microfiber cloth. Don't use tissues or napkins. I don't know where you come from, but napkins or tissues, you know what I mean. Kitchen towels, don't use this one. Use a high quality microfiber cloth and pick up all the dust. Go from one side to the other side. If you go like circles, you will just transport your dust from one place to the other place. If you do it like this, you will pick it up and the dust will trap inside. This is more dark. So once this is done, let's take the main board now. Be very careful. For the main board, I take a brush which is more soft. Go from the inside to the outside. Be very careful. Now most likely you will think, hey, why don't you unscrew your heatsink? Because I don't have spare liquid metal with me right now. That's why I don't do this. You see the bristles? Just go in between the fins here. Push it down or on the side. Doesn't matter how important it is though that you will release and remove all the dust which has been accumulated here inside. Now you may wonder, why is dust a problem? Dust blocks airflow. It's like a wall in a nutshell. So now I will tell you how the cooling works and how dust will negatively affect your temperatures and the airflow. So here is your processor and here is your GPU. Well, depending on your laptop, of course. But let's assume, like in this case, you have a dedicated CPU and a dedicated GPU. So once your GPU gets hot, or in other words, it's working, the CPU generates heat. This heat goes up into the heatsink, and this heat, which accumulates here, will be pushed via the fans to this side. The temperatures will arise here and here, and your fans will transport the heat outwards. And if there is a buildup of dust, your fan cannot work properly because the dust will block the airflow. Do the same thing on the other side. No, and if you have applied liquid metal, you can also inspect if there is some spillage. Here is none. It's a little bit of junk. So, oh sorry, what I did is I took the microfiber cloth and put some acetone, and I will clean this part. Don't know what it is. It looks like some adhesive. Now this is a high flocking microfiber cloth. So once you drag it onto your mainboard, you will feel some resistance. Don't go through this resistance because otherwise you can break soldered parts. Instead, tap it. Now we can clean this VRAM, since on top of this VRAM will go the heatsink and we just want to ensure that between these VRAMs and the heatsink is no fat. You see how much dirt we trapped, and these microfiber cloths are great. These are actually for automotive use, so we can take it a step further. Just take my lovely toothbrush, put a little bit of acetone, and just clean your connectors with it. But be very careful and mindful. Just lightly go over them. You don't want to damage these soldered parts. Otherwise, as I said, you will have a very bad day. Very lightly. Now this ensures optimal connections between the cables and the connectors. Because you don't know, maybe there is some microscopic particle which is trapped in between the cable and the connectors, and by doing this you ensure that everything is clean. Now if you want to go really crazy, you can even clean your mini display port, your HDMI. Put this on the side and we can start reassembling everything. So let's begin with the reassembly. Let's grab our chassis, pull the cables out of the way so we can insert our main board. Just be very careful and mindful. Good. See, it's that easy. Pull it up again because here is a cable. Let's actually start with this one. Push it down a little bit. Good. Close the ribbon cable. How do you know it sits properly? Because you can see through the female screwing holes. So the first thing we want to do is to put back our heatsink. Now this time we want to start from this part, because you want to put pressure here on this side and then transfer it here. So this will be fixed, and this loose hanging arm, it's then fixed here. So the pressure goes from here to here. You don't want to do this the other way around. So this size is bigger, and you can also read it here because it's written on top of the heatsink. So this is secured. Then we still have a screw hole here. Push it down, screw it in. Perfect. Now take the screen cable. Now you want to try to center your connector first and then push it in. You don't want to go first on the left side, then on the right. Just try to go straight in. Same with the camera connector. And this one, just here, push it down. Next one is the audio jack. This one goes here. Perfect. We firstly have to route it here in the fan. Good. Wi-Fi antenna 2. So now it's lying flat. Screw it in here. Here, and plug in the connector. That's done. So now we can plug in the speaker. Take our famous ribbon cable. As you remember, MB goes into the main board, and the MCU goes here inside. Zack. Now we come to my most hated part, plugging in the Wi-Fi antennas. So you can see the round connector on the main board. What do we do now? We take our tweezers, we grab the cable by the cable, not by the connector, and I lay the cable on top of the connector. And then I just slightly go up and down until the cable doesn't move anymore. Once it has grabbed to the connector of the main board, like this, just very gentle. Just take your other finger and push it down. Ta-da, that's done. Same thing on the other side. Grab it from the cable, just lay it very gently on the connector, wiggle it around until it doesn't move anymore, you see? And once you feel that it doesn't move anymore, take your other finger and push it down. That's it. That's the best method to do this. Now take your bracket, lay it on top, and firmly screw the bracket. That's it. That's how you do this. Now we still have the power connector. Okay, put the adhesive back, and now I really wished that Dell would build the laptops like I do, but or just better in general. No one would complain about them. The other small fan has 3 holes. Don't use this hole because this is actually to mount in the back cover, as well as the other one. So now we can actually start to screw down the main board. Now here on the top comes the slightly longer screw, and we still have 2 more screws. So no more screws left. No. So next one is the battery. Good. Screw it in. So, and I hope you appreciate my efforts. If you have any feedback, either if it's positive or negative, please let me know so I can improve where I can improve. So we don't actually want to plug in the battery right now because we still have to install the Tron light. We can clean it very quickly. So again, take your laptop, and you want to be very careful to slide this down. Now, when you slide it down, you have to press down on the cables, so you can actually slide it down without any problems. Perfect. That's good. Sorry, my fat head. So plug those in. Last but not least, pull in your battery cable. Last thing we want to do is to slide in your back cover, push it down around your perimeter and screw. Now, as you might have seen, I try always to put even pressure on the things that I screw in. Okay. Normally when you lose a screw, a giant black hole appears from nowhere and it sucks in the screws, but this time I was very lucky. We are done.